Welcome back to the Moll Anderson Show. Well, you've seen this beautiful lady all over TV for many years as an actress, and she's part of the Real Housewives of Orange County, and I'm sure she's up to all kinds of things, and we're going to find out. Her name is Heather Dubrow, and I am so happy to have her on my show. Hi, Heather.
Hey, how are you?
I am good. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, this is exciting. You've had quite a career before you even had a career.
Well, thanks for remembering.
Well, share some of it with us, because I think, our listeners would really like to know.
Well, it's funny. I think once you're off television, it doesn't really matter if you're on a scripted show or on a reality show for 5 minutes. When you're gone, you're gone. No one remembers, sadly. But my name used to be Heather Paige Kent, and I did a number of series, but I'd probably, if you knew me from something, it would most likely be a TV show I had on CBS called That's Life. That I starred in with Paul Sorvino and Ellen Burstyn and Debbie Mazar about a big Italian family. And I had a show with Jenny McCarthy on NBC called Jenny, and a host of other shows. So
I did see that show.
So I had a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, gosh, tell my listeners about the transition you must have had to make from shifting your career into motherhood. Was that just something that was easily accomplished, or did you have to work at that?
I don't think that was a conscious decision. I think that, your life just kind of keeps moving forward and things happen. I married a plastic surgeon who practiced in Orange County, and he's just not transient. So for many years, he commuted back and forth so that, I could get up at 3:30 in the morning and go to the set. So naturally, when we started having kids, it was all about, this is crazy. I'm not working right now. He's commuting. Okay, let's try Orange County. And then slowly, all of a sudden, you wake up one day and go, oh, my gosh, what happened to me? Here I am. I'm a housewife. I'm a mother. All of a sudden, I have 4 children.
It just sort of happens, doesn't it?
It just happened. I don't know how it happened.
Well, you're obviously doing it very well because you're doing it on TV.
Well, that was an interesting transition, too. I mean, I never thought I'd do reality TV. I mean, as an actor, I think when reality TV first came around, we were all pretty snobby about the whole thing and thought that it took away jobs from actors. But the truth is, the landscape of television has completely changed. And, work is work.
Yeah, well, that is so true. Now, you've got these cameras following you around, and it can be very evasive. Do you think this has helped or hurt your relationship and your family?
Well, I think that being on a reality show, it doesn't create strife in your life. I think it polarizes what's going on. Mm-hmm. And for us, it's been good and bad. Look, when we agreed to do the show, we obviously agreed to put all aspects of our lives on television, not just the sunny part. So last season on the show, Terry, my husband, and I, had a few issues. And what I hated about it was I hated exposing that vulnerable part of our lives that we don't really need our neighbors to know about. But on a positive side, it brought us so much closer together, and we've been together 17 years, and I really appreciated all the feedback from people really liking the fact that we could show you could get through something.
Well, you're right. Well, if you're just joining me, I am visiting with Heather Dubrow, who is the star of The Real Housewives of Orange County. Okay, so you've got the family and your husband. The cameras are following you. We just talked about how you feel that, it polarizes things. So clearly you had a strong relationship before this started. And now your relationship, tell me about this, because you've got your husband, like you said, is a plastic surgeon. You've got 4 kids. How do you keep the balance, and how do you keep the fire going?
Well, first of all, I feel it's a good question. Look, as a woman in general, and a mother, I think we're all always trying to figure out what the right balance is. I don't always hit it right. Right now, right this very second, it's working for us. We're managing to, have television in our lives, and I'm back working in scripted. I just filmed an episode of Hawaii Five-0 out in Waikiki.
Awesome.
And, the kids are good. Right now, I know it's going to change. It always does. But right now, things are good. I think that communication obviously is key. And what Terry and I never did well, which we're doing so much better now, is going away. So I've had to go to New York for work. I had to go to Hawaii, like I just said, for work. And he'll come with me for a few days. And it does a world of good for us.
Oh, you got to get away.
But we never did.
I know. Well, it's hard. A lot of parents don't want to leave their children because they have to leave for work. And so, it's constantly trying to find that balance. And of course, I'm always trying to get people to understand how important it is because, you're creating your children's future relationships because they're watching you. And I always say they learn by example. So it is important that you get away. So I'm so glad you do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it took us 17 years, but look at us. We're doing really well.
You are. Well, so tell me, how do you do this? Because, you're shooting the show and you're having a lunch scene with somebody, and then all of a sudden they sort of like go left on you. You seem to always have the ability to stay strong and handle it with class.
Well, first of all, truth is definitely stranger than fiction. People always ask me if this show is scripted. It's absolutely not. You can't make this stuff up.
Yes.
It's a weird place to be in because, truthfully, you have to be thinking 12 steps ahead, and we all say things that are regrettable, and to be accountable for everything that comes out of your mouth is difficult. But I feel like if you just are true to yourself and it's you can't really say the wrong thing. People may not like it. Like, right. I think me, for example, I am honest and I'm direct. And some people find that off-putting, but that's the way I am. I can't hide it.
Well, I'd always rather have a straightforward, honest person than not see somebody coming, And
yeah, because I would never want someone to feel like they're walking out of the room and then I'm talking about them. The nature of this type of show is you are talking about people. It's sort of encouraged, but, I would say whatever I said to their face as well.
Well, if you're just joining me, I'm visiting with Heather Dubrow from the Real Housewives of Orange County, and we're talking about the realities of reality. And, well, gosh, Heather, because I love that you are so direct. But the thing I learned about these shows, and when you watch them, I think some of these people, they're talking to camera and they're doing their beauty shots and everything, and they're just talking bad about everybody. And I love the fact that you say it to their face like you do say. Is it shocking when you watch the show? I'm thinking, are these people thinking no one's ever going to watch the show and know that they just said this about you, or say something? It's
interesting because in those confessionals, the interviews that we do.
Yeah.
It's interesting how people feel so comfortable to lash out in those.
That's shocking to me.
It's shocking to me, too, because I feel like it should be commentary. Really what they are is sort of getting inside the person's brain that you wouldn't normally hear, but now we're letting you into our brain. So it may not be exactly what you would say to someone, but, gosh, sometimes it gets vicious.
Oh, I know. And I'm thinking, does this person not think that this person is actually going to not see this?
Well,
it's just so shocking.
That there's repercussions. It is. And you know what? It's very hurtful. It is very hurtful when you hear it and see it sometimes. And look, I've said some things that I regretted, that I've, called people and apologized for because, I don't mean to hurt someone or offend someone, but sometimes that naturally can happen. That's life.
Well, I've got to tell you, you've handled it with class always, I think. I haven't seen a lot of the shows, but, I've tried to pick up a few here and there, but you always seem to come out on top, which speaks a lot for you. And, these reality shows, it is a gamble. You never know. And editing plays a great part in it, too, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Listen. It is not a scripted show, but it is a television show, and it has to be produced to some extent. You can't show that. I think the algorithm is they shoot 30 hours of film for 20 minutes that gets on the air. So you can imagine how much footage there is, and you do have to create the story. They can't show everything. And sometimes you'll watch a scene, and I'll say to myself, well, that's not exactly what we were talking about. It all of a sudden seems like something else. But it is what we said. No one manipulated it.
No, that's so true. Oh my goodness. Well, tell me this. What has been your most shocking moment that aha moment you've had doing this new reality series? What was the moment that maybe shook you up a little bit that you didn't expect?
I think when Terry shared problems that we were having at a table full of people was shocking to me. I really didn't expect that to happen. And we had a fight on camera and then privately had a worse fight. And I didn't know why he needed to share all that, but I think he thought he was protecting me, and it was very shocking and very disturbing. But like I said, for some reason, I mean, we've been together a long time, and we don't fight all that often. But this one was bad, and coming through it, and maybe having had to go through it so publicly somehow made it worse to make it better. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I can understand that. It's like you put it out there. I mean, it's out there.
Oh, yeah, it was out there.
When you put it out there and you're open, you become very vulnerable. And in some ways, too, it pulls away all the stars and all of that. And people look at it and go, you know what? They are real people like anybody else. And the fact that you're doing it on TV is hard. And kudos to you for being able to share it and still sustain a healthy marriage. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And like I said earlier, our baseline is a strong relationship. All relationships go through ebbs and flows, but our baseline is a very strong relationship. So even though, being on these kinds of shows can polarize what's going on, if you start rocky and get on one of these shows, it's not going to work. And I feel like that's why there's so many divorces you hear about from people that have been on reality TV, because I feel like maybe they're going on the show to try to fix something or get out of it, and it's a way to get out. I don't know. Well,
so how are you feeling now that you are shifting back into your career of acting? Do you think that you might just decide to go back into acting full time and say goodbye to The Real Housewives?
You know what? It's much easier to have a script.
Plus, you're playing a part, right?
It really is. And, it's funny. Back when I was working a lot before I had my kids, it was before social media. I mean, I'm making myself sound 80 right now, but we didn't have Twitter, and we didn't have Instagram, and it's a much different public life to be on a reality show. I mean, when I was on shows, people would say, oh, we love your character, or I love your work, and now it's, oh, your house, or I was with my daughter the other day, and someone said, hi, Heather, and then they went, oh, it's Max. I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, they know my children's names. And it's odd. It's just very odd to open up your life like that and have people know you so intimately like that. It's uncomfortable for me. I appreciate everyone's, how gracious everyone is to us and the well-wishers, but it's very odd.
Well, if you're just joining me, we are visiting with Heather Dubrow, who has been an actress for many, many years, and now you know her on The Real Housewives of Orange County. Heather, how about some advice for women who want to go into a reality series? What would you tell them?
You know what? I don't think that you can prep yourself for this. I think that there are people that are cut out for this and people that aren't. And people are cut out in different ways. It's interesting. I don't know how they get through this whole casting process because I kind of went through a side door, but they managed to screen and find people that should be there.
Okay.
But I guess the biggest advice, again, I'm saying it a little tongue-in-cheek because I do realize I'm on the show.
Yeah.
But I think my best advice is that if someone wants to get on a reality show, be yourself, because eventually the truth always comes out. So you are who you are, and that will come out.
All right. So how about your advice for working moms and careers? How do you balance this at the end of the day? Because now you've got, The Real Housewives, you've got your husband, you've got your kids, and now you're doing Hawaii 5-0 and all of these things. How do you do it? What are your tips that you could share with our listeners today that might help them get through a crazy day or travel or leaving their kids and feeling guilty?
I would say, first of all, organization is key. I am hyper organized. I mean, sometimes to a fault, but if you're organized and you get things done, I stay up late. I'm the first one up in the morning, and I'm the last one to go to bed because I want to make sure everything is taken care of so that when I'm with my kids, I'm not doing busy work. The other thing that I think is super important is put your phone down.
Ah, that's a good one.
I can't tell you, and I'm guilty of it sometimes myself. We're all busy. You have to answer an email. You have to check this. Someone's texting you and this and that and the other thing. Put the phone down. Look at your kids, talk to them, read books with them, play with them. Even if it's only an hour, even if it's only a half an hour, when you're with them, be present and put the phone down.
Very good advice. So I just want to tell you it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Tell me, though, is there anything you want the listeners to know about you that they don't know before you go, Heather?
I think everyone knows maybe more about me than they should.
But maybe something they don't know about you. Is there something special you can share with us?
I think everyone pretty much knows everything, except I don't know if most people know that I'm a singer.
Oh.
I started my career in musical theater, and I had a 14-piece big band that I toured with for many years.
Wow.
That was sort of my waitress job while I was, getting agents and acting, and we opened for Mel Torme and Manhattan Transfer and Dana Carvey and Paul Poundstone and a bunch of people, and it was such a fun gig, and I haven't really sung in years, except I sang at Tamara's wedding.
Oh, I missed that one. I'll have to go back and check that out.
No, they didn't. Unfortunately, they didn't show it because they couldn't clear the song I sang. And, we've been going back and forth and looking for songs that could be cleared. And it's such a difficult process to get to the producers, and then there's owners. And they couldn't get one, and I almost didn't do it. And I woke up about 5 days before the wedding, and I said, well, this is crazy. She asked me to sing at her wedding.
Yeah.
If they can't show it, what can I do? So
good for you.
I wrote the song. I called some members of my old band, and it was great, and it was fun, and she was so appreciative, and she loved it. And so I was just so happy to be a bridesmaid, to be a part of her wedding, and give her that special gift.
Well, what about you doing like the Carlisle or something, in New York? I could see you doing like a little supper club thing.
I used to do a club act, and, years ago, but, with the kids, I doubt it's going to happen. But
like a special thing where you just go in, go in for a week and just do, Steve Tyrell does that. He'll go in and do a week at the Carlisle, different people come through. I think even Linda Carter does that, a few other people, and they go in and do a special 1 week only in New York. That could be fun.
It could be fun. We're actually, I've gotten some calls about maybe doing some Broadway next summer, and, we'll see how it works out. I'd love to. It's, that's how I started. I'd love to go back and sing and perform and be live on stage again. But you know what? Where I'm at right now is really good, so we'll just see kind of where the road takes me.
Well, good for you. I think the road's going to take you far. And Heather, I appreciate you taking the time to join me today on the Moll Anderson Show. And we wish you such wonderful future and success.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.